No one talks about how lonely life can be in Canada as an international student studying abroad. If you're thinking of studying abroad and you think you can have this fun social life, great friends, well, I'm just here to shock you. And I'm gonna want you to hold my hand whilst I say this. Hold my hand, honey. Hold it tight. Squeeze it tight. It's not gonna be what you think. What you're thinking is not it. That's not what's gonna happen. That's not what's gonna happen, honey. So, no. And today I'm gonna be sharing the truth about my experience as an international student studying abroad, truthful, raw, and unfiltered about how social life is like here in Canada. And I'm pretty sure it applies to a lot of other places abroad. Today, I'm going to be sharing my truth of how my experience has been like as an international student studying abroad. So I'm going to be sharing my honest experience about my social life here. We're going to be sharing it all, spilling all the tea, raw and unfiltered. So prepare to be shocked. Without wasting much of your time, guys, let's get right into the video. Point number 1, the loneliness hits different. The loneliness is gonna hit, honey, and when it hits, it is going to hit different. Now, what am I saying about this? When you go studying abroad, right, the first weeks and the first months of being in whatever country you're in, it's gonna be nice. I'm just sharing my honest experience. Maybe it's different for someone else, but for me, it was nice. Like, it was really great. I was having this great friends. I had this community. Like, I had connected with people back in Zimbabwe where we come from. So we were like connected with the school. So I met people. It seemed so great. It seemed like I'm just gonna have this great life. I'm gonna have these friends, and those were Zimbabweans, but I couldn't stop myself from imagining the kind of friends I was gonna have from other countries, like other Africa. I was so excited about the friend groups I was going to make, the friendships I was going to make, the interracial friendships, friends from all parts of the world. Like, I was super excited about that, and I couldn't wait. But to my surprise, that is not what happened. The first weeks and the first months that you'll be studying, you're gonna have people around you. There are going to be people around you because you would have already connected with people in Zimbabwe coming here. And most of the times, the first weeks of college is actually connecting. That is getting to know people from like your country and other countries that you might be aware of. So I had people around me from Zimbabwe because we were connected with our school, and that was through an orientation that was done back in Zimbabwe. And I had the privilege of traveling with some students who were also from Zimbabwe, some who were going to be studying my program as well. So it was great. Like, it seemed nice. I had people around me. I had the friends. I had the niche. And I would always tell myself, I'm going to bust this. Like, I'm going to ace this college thing. So fast forward a few weeks, a few months, then reality sinks in. That is when the loneliness hits. Those people are gonna go. You are going to look and then think, where are they? Because they're gone. And they're gone, honey. So once these great friends are gone, those great people you were thinking they're going to be a part of your whole college life, they're gone. That is when the loneliness hits in. So that is when the loneliness is going to feel different. That is when you start feeling that void, that I don't have anyone right now. I'm lonely. I don't have anyone to text. I'm actually an international student studying abroad with no one, with no family. A whole different person. So that is when the reality sinks in, and that is when you start feeling lonely. You start realizing, I have no one. I am alone in college and I'm lonely. And it is very important to not think it is because you could have a bad vibe or people are just not vibing with you, but it is usually due to different factors like people moving to different areas of accommodation. That's going to limit access between people meeting up. It's just a whole lot of different things going on. Also, going into different programs with people, you might not even get to see everyone at college like it was before. Sometimes you don't even know if someone came to college or not, because that's how it is like in college. So all of those things are just going to cause people to disappear, and it's something that you can't do anything about. You just have to accept that, okay, this is happening, and yeah, you see a way on how to move forward. Moving on to point number 2, making friends is not going to be automatic at all. And what I mean by this is, in Zimbabwe, that is where I'm from, people would connect easily. That is, people in like high school, you talk to someone, you laugh with someone at the first year, and you end up laughing with that person till you finish high school, which is nice. If you go back, I'm pretty sure anyone can relate. If you go back to your own home country, connecting with people is easy. But when you come to a different country, like Canada per se, you realize that people already have their own circles. So, for instance, it's important to also realize that people already have their own circles. The Canadian people have their own circles because they have been here for a long time, more than you actually have been here. Like, be it like at a workplace, you might realize that people have already formed connections way before you come here. Even at your school, with some people coming from the same country as you, especially for me, with some people coming from Zimbabwe, I had to realize and see that people actually had made friends way before than I had come here. So I am trying to make friends on the go because I am new. So it's a bit of a challenge because people already have their own circles. So third point, it is really important to know the difference that being polite does not mean closeness. So as an international student studying in Canada, you get to realize that Canadians are really polite people. They are really polite. They will greet you, smile at you, say hi when they see you, but that does not mean closeness. So it was really challenging for me to have to keep my boundaries and really notice that this person is not automatically saying, let's be close, let's have a friendship, but they're being polite, they're being nice, because that is the culture in Canada. I got to live like in Canada for these years. I ended up adopting that Canadian culture of the politeness. If I see another person of color in a grocery store or in a bus or wherever I do, I would also smile and greet that person. But that does not automatically mean I want to be close to them, but I'm being polite because it's really nice to see another person of color, especially when you're a person of color, because sometimes it's really rare. You might not even see someone who's of your own race. So, or still on the friendship side, you realize that you have to put in effort. A lot, sometimes a lot of effort. So with maintaining friendships and making friendships, you now have to text a lot. If you are not a texter, now you're going to have to text. You're going to have to make plans so that you can have a social life. You need to plan, honey, because no one is going to plan for you. And with planning, you need to follow up with those plans, because sometimes you can plan something and it's just going to go under the carpet. Nothing fruitful is going to come out of it. So realizing that, putting in effort, texting, planning, following up with those plans, because without doing that, trust me, and I tell you this truthfully, a year is going to pass by and the only social activities you would have done could be like 1 or 2 in a whole year, honey. And maybe you might not even have made any friends at all in a whole year. Oh my God! It's really important to know that you have to put in effort, you have to text, follow up with those plans, make plans. And also the most important thing is knowing that sometimes those plans are not are not going to be successful. The effort that you're going to put in is not going to be reciprocated. Like, people are going to ignore you. They might just blue tick you. I have moments where I also not blue tick though. Sometimes I don't read the messages because of a busy life, So you have to accept that, and you don't have to take it, knowing that you don't have to take it personally, but knowing that that is the culture, that is the society. Like, you're going to put in effort to make friends, and sometimes it is going to fail, because that is work and school life is going to slowly and eventually will take over your life. Like, I didn't realize that, but for me, my work and my school life was now taking over my life to a point where my social life had become secondary. Like, we all have a radio where we have like priorities, So for me, my priority was work and school. I had to work so that I provide food on the table for me, to pay my bills, to be able to buy all the things I needed. And at the same time, I had to keep my academic life, because that is what brought me to Canada. That is what brought me abroad. So now, having to think about your social life, you would not get that time. Personally, I would not get the time at all. I could not even imagine myself stressing the fact that I don't have friends or a relationship. No, honey, because that is going to seem like it's, except like on holidays, that is when you get to realize, okay, I don't have a social life, but that's the truth. So that is the most important reason why people actually don't have a social life, especially living abroad. The fact that the work life takes over, school takes over, there are just a lot of priorities. It's a fast life, it's a lot. And thinking about a social life, you might not even think about it, honey. But at the same time, it is also important to know that having a social life is really important. It's part of being well. Your wellness requires you to have a good social. There are real culture differences, is real. Different humor is real. Okay, I need you to comment down below if you've ever experienced this. Have you ever experienced a situation where you are like in an environment and a joke is shared or something is said, and then people start laughing, and then you start laughing too, just because you don't want to feel like you're not getting the humor, and you just laugh even though you haven't gotten like the joke? Yeah. Personally, I'm just going to be honest. That was me the first days when I came to Canada. Like, people would make jokes in class. My instructors, people would talk, and I'll find myself just laughing. Guys, abantu dotoranisho ntopisiro kutongoseka ukuthi usazoita unge ndosiri kugeta. I would end up just laughing, just because I don't want to look like I'm the one who's not getting the jokes. And yeah, that is when you get to realize that culture differences are real. Like, you go out with people, they're laughing, you end up forcing yourself to laugh. Like, I got to a point, ndakambosvika papoint yekuti ndakatika ndasuwa kuseka zviri genuine, guys. Ndasuwa kuseka zviri genuine. Like, kunyatsoseka ndichinyatsonzwa kuti panapa izvi zviri kusekesa, yeah. My people, if you know, you know. But yeah, so it's that whole thing of knowing that culture differences are real. So it's gonna hit hard, like humor, different humors, different personalities, different senses of humor. Like, that is when you realize that this whole social thing, it's actually a lot with this whole culture shock, culture differences happening, feeling like you don't belong. So with all these things happening, you might start feeling like you don't belong, and this might be due to like things like the different culture differences, like things to do with accent, backgrounds, like especially at the beginning, just like the whole thing about different personalities, experiences. you might end up feeling like you don't belong, honey. So, these are like the things that I just really feel grateful that I'm sharing this. If it gets to someone, now I'm not, it's not because I'm not good at making friends that I'm feeling this way, or it's not because I am inadequate, it's not because I'm not enough. It's just a whole phase that happens to almost everyone. Personally, like, I don't know, comment down below, guys. For me, I wasn't an introvert, but it happened to me. I ended up feeling like, especially my first days in Canada, talking about the accent, the first days that you move abroad, I don't know if it's only me, but you don't clearly like hear what people are saying because you're not yet used to the accents. Like, even in Canada, I still remember my first time in class. Oh my God, blood of Jesus, blood of Jesus. I couldn't even understand what my instructor was saying, what people were saying, and people would just be laughing. That's when you just be like, because you just want to also laugh. You don't want to look like you're the dumb one who's not getting the joke, and maybe you're like the only person of color in the class. Guys, I'm just honest. So yeah, you might feel like you don't belong. Like, you might feel like maybe it's because I don't know much. But as time moves on, to be honest, it gets different. Like, even with the accents, you start understanding now what people are saying. Like, right now, I don't struggle to understand what a Canadian person is saying. But with an Indian person, there and there. But now I do understand what Indians are saying, because, like, everyone has their own accent depending on where they come from. It doesn't mean there's one that's better than the other. The realization that I had in regards to dating is that dating does not equal an emotional connection. And this is there was like the most trickiest thing for me, like, to really understand, like, that you meet people, you're gonna meet great people. Trust me, they're so great. They don't have any red flags, but for some reason, the depth is just not there. Like, the depth, it's not there. And yeah, it's really important to, like, realize, if you have chosen to take the path of pursuing a romantic relationship, it's really kind of important for you to realize, to take a look at the depth being there. And that was something I had to realize for myself. If I am to decide to be in a relationship with this person, is the depth there, and also kind of realizing and noticing the difference between dating and having a emotional connection with someone. Also, another really important point is also knowing that the situationship culture is real, especially in foreign countries. I don't know what happens to foreign countries, guys. Why are there a lot of situationships in foreign countries? Like, when you're studying abroad with people, and it's not even because people from other countries are bringing it, but someone from your own country will put you in a situationship. Like, Wang, what are you doing? So it is really, like, super crazy, but it's also something that you might want to consider to look into, like, realizing if the situationship is not serving you, if that is not something that you are interested in, kind of noticing that and just doing what is, like, healthy for you. And to also know that sometimes it's going to take time for you to get that solid friendship. When I'm talking about time, I could mean months. It could mean months. It could mean years for you to get that solid friend group. And realizing that, coming to terms with that, accepting that, and being patient will actually save you a lot of time and save you a lot of these shallow friendships or shallow friend groups that you might get into that are not serving you, just because you don't want to feel lonely. But I've noticed that living as an international student studying abroad, it might take months or years. Personally, it's been 2 years I've been studying in Canada, and I would say I do have friends. Trust me, I'm not going to say I'm this lonely person who doesn't have people. I do have friends who check up on me if I'm not doing okay, who are there for me. but having that solid friend group, having those solid friendships with people you're like in the same headspace with, you know, people who you share the same faith with, someone who you just connect with effortlessly. So yeah, effortlessly. So having those kind of people, it's been, I wouldn't say I have that kind of niche yet, but I have accepted that it is going to take time, and having that patience and accepting that for myself has been also grateful. What I've just been grateful for, like having to experience and navigate a different social life, moving from Zimbabwe to Canada, is that it just taught me to know what I really want. Like, it helped me to grow into myself. It helps me to actually realize what kind of friendships fulfill me, what kind of friendships are good for me, what kind of connections are good for me, and which kind of connections don't serve me. It made me realize some parts about my social life that I didn't not know, which is good. So yeah, so if you're thinking of studying abroad, if you are navigating this whole process, be patient, honey. A journey of a milestone starts with a single step. You get there. Don't rush yourself. Personally, I'm not there yet, but yeah, we're gonna get there. So if you're studying abroad, or if you have studied abroad before, leave a comment down below if you feel like you can relate to some of the experiences that I've shared, or if you have a different experience, comment down below. Finally reached the end of this video. Drumroll, 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 drumroll for the girl, drumroll for the girl. If you enjoyed watching this video till the end, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, leave a like and a comment down below, share, tell a friend to tell a friend that